This is Shashikant. So, in this session, we are going to discuss few points like what is NoneType and what are Python data types and how to check data type of any variable. Like if you have declared any variable and you want to check that what is the type of that variable, then how to check that. An example of integer and float also, like there are few data types of the Python. Then in this session we'll discuss about integer and float data types. So we'll discuss about with some example also there, and how to calculate power and square root of any number. So we'll discuss about these all points. Before that, if you have not subscribed my channel, then please subscribe that and don't forget to click on the bell icon also. So let's start with the session. So what is NoneType? NoneType says like if you have created any variable and you don't want to pass any value, default value, then you can assign a default value like none. Like you have created any variable name and you don't want to give any default value to name variable, then you can give a none value there. None, if you give none value, means it indicates no value to that variable. In few minutes I will show you that how do you create any and declare any variable and how do you pass that none value to that. I'll show you in few minutes. And if you have created any variable and you want to check that what is the type of that variable, then how to check that? There is a method called type and we need to pass that variable name there in the parameter. So I'll show that example also there in the next few minutes. So what are the data types in the Python? Python has certain data types, like we have primitive and non-primitive data types. In primitive data types we have like integer, string, boolean and float, whereas non-primitive data type we have list, array, tuples, dictionary and sets. So these all are the data types. Like if you have declared any variable and you want to store any value in that variable, then that value will be like either integer, string, boolean or float, or maybe that value will belong in these type data types. So there are certain data. There are some more data types also which we will be discussing later on. So we'll be discussing in this session like integer and float, and later on we'll be discussing about string, boolean and so on, so right. So let's move on the integer and float first. So suppose you have declared any variable of type integer and you want to do some operation on the integer data type. Then like if you have two variables, maybe variable 1 and variable 2, and you want to sum those two variables, then variable 1 and variable 2 will be there and it returns the result. Here I have taken the direct value, like 2 plus 2 it returns 4, 50 minus 5 into 6 it returns 20. So suppose you want to group some values operation, some expression to group together and do some operation, then you need to use parentheses there. We'll show you that also in the example. And if you are using Python 3, then and you are doing division operation, then it returns always floating point values. And if you are using Python 2, like when people used to use Python 2, still people are using Python 2, but when you are using Python 2 and you are doing any division and one integer by other integer, like if you are doing division, like here I have given example like 5 divides 2, then it returns 2. No matter what, the result would always be an integer, right? If you want any float result like this, 5 divided 2.0, if you want any complete result of the division, then you need to pass at least one of the argument into a float. Like here I have given 5 as an integer and 2.5 as a float, then it returns 2.5. If you give complete integer value there, then it always return integer. It doesn't matter what value you have passed, but it always returns integer if you have given both value in the integer in the Python 2. But in the Python 3, it always returns floating point number. Here I have given some example, like if you divide 50 by 18, then it returns 2.777. So here this forward slash is division operator, like here 50 slash slash 18, it returns 2. Here double slash is float division operator. Here somehow it is wrongly typed here. If you are dividing like 50 modulus 18, then it returns 14. This operator is called this operator is called modulus operator. It always returns like integer value because it returns a remainder. And if you are using this float division operator here, then it returns always the quotient, right? So to check the division, we have certain rules like dividend equal to divisor into quotient plus remainder. All right, next, suppose you want to calculate the power of any number, then how do you calculate that? Like I have a number called 5 and I want to calculate the power, then I need to write like 5 star star 2, the square root of any number. Then you need to pass, like here I have mentioned that number and double star to the power 0.5, because 0.5 means square root, then it returns 5. Here one scenario is like if you have given any value like -3 star star true, so it returns -9, because here star star has higher precedence than -3. So if you want to calculate the power of any number, then and that power is in negative, then you need to pass like this -3 star star 2, then it calculates the power of that value. So let's see the example. So let's start with the first NoneType. Like let me clear the screen by typing a CLS. So I have created here a name variable and assigning a default value with the none. Now if I go to execute this, like Python, this file name is NoneType.Py. So here I have written first to check that what is the type of that variable. So here it returns the NoneType. NoneType is one of the classes of the data types in the Python. Now I'm going to get the length of this name variable. To check the length of name variable, like we need to write like print. There is an inbuilt function len, and you need to pass the variable name, like name. It returns the length of that variable. So as I said that name, if you have assigned any variable by name none, means there is no value. Now let's see if I execute what happens. let's save it first. See, so previous two lines are executed, like it returns its type is NoneType and name none. Now it says one more thing, like object of type NoneType has no length, means there is no value, right? So it clearly says that there is no value, no length. So if you have created any variable and if you want not to pass any value to that variable, then you just pass there none, because you can't leave any variable like this. It will throw you error, right? So you need to pass some default value, that is none. We started working on the integer also. Let me clear it out by CLS. So as you see here, like I have created two variables, first number and second number. First number is also 2, second number is also 2. Now I want to do the sum of these two numbers. Then I need to write like first number plus second number, it returns 4. And that same expression over here, which I showed in the example in the slide. And if you want to do some more complex operation, then you need to use this parenthesis over here like this. See, so you need to pass this parenthesis, which which shows you that few expressions are combined together. So to combine the expression, you need to pass, or you need to use parenthesis there. And let me execute it. Python integer dot py. So it gives 4, and this also it returns 20, it returns 16. Now here I use the f number, first number, to check the type of this number variable, f number variable. So it returns, see here, it returns int. It is also a class type, integer type, right? So we are discussing about the integer type. Now let's discuss about float. Clear this screen. Now move on to integer float. So I have created one variable like dividend, other variable divisor, and now calculating the division of these two by dividing the dividend by divisor, it returns, I'll show you here, like Python integer float. You can remove this dot. Python 3, it returns always the floating point number in the division, right? So division is like in the floating point number, and division data type, like this division, it is in the floating point. So if I check here, if you see here, I checked the type of this division value. So here it returns, it is float data type. So all the data types are class, right? And if I check the dividend also, so dividend, this dividend is a number which is integer type, so it's here it shows that this is integer data type. To calculate the remainder, you need to pass here modular operator. Modular operator gives the remainder, right? And if you want to get the quotient, you need to pass the double slash here. So it gives the quotient directly. Now clear this screen. Let's move on to the power and the square root. So here I have given a number variable and assigned that number variable. To assign any variable, we need to use assignment operator. Assignment operator gives, if you are using assignment operator, it assigns any value to the variable. Like here I have used 5 value and it assigns that value into the number variable. So to calculate the power of that variable, I used double star and 2. Here it returns the output. If you want to calculate the power of -3, then it returns -9, because the higher precedence is of double star here. That's why it returns -9. If you want to fix it, then you need to pass like parenthesis, and in that parenthesis you need to pass negative number, then calculate the power of that. And if you want to calculate the square root of any number, then you need to pass .5 there. So if I execute it, Python C, power of 5, 25, 9 and the square root of 9, it returns 3. So that's it for today. If you have any question, please drop your valuable comment there in the comment box. And if you have not subscribed yet, then please subscribe and don't forget to click on the bell icon also. That's it for today. Thank you.